Hey everybody. So got in just as I got in today, I found this hanging out in the garage here. It's the Vulcan Protig 205. I've been waiting for this thing for quite a while now. Definitely have been wanting to try something out with a few more features. You know, most of the stuff that I do or a lot of it that's, you know, I do a lot of thin wall chromoly stuff. Bicycle frames, and then, you know, just a lot of other random projects that I don't usually weld with too thick of metal. Yeah. Alright, so there she is, the Vulcan Protig 205. It'll do TIG, AC/DC, DC stick. So anyway, a few things that you know, there's several other welders. There's, you know, the Everlast, HP. You know, those are probably the two most common that you'll see compared. You know, Chinese basic welders, $700 to $1,000 price point. And kind of the reason I went with this one. You know, really probably was this is the main reason. It's got a one year risk-free trial. So I'm definitely willing to try it out for a year. And, you know, this isn't like something like, oh, I'm just going to use it for a year and take it back. It's, you know, if I like it, I'm going to sell my Lincoln and use this, because I'm not going to try to take advantage of the system or anything. I want another welder that I can use here. So this is, yeah, I'm going to give this thing a try. And anyway, I'm going to pull it out of the box here and kind of get everything sorted out and see if we have time to try it out a little bit. All right, so as soon as you open the box, you'll find you got your little congratulations on your Vulcan Master Series welder. So anyways, got our instructions, got a little quick start guide there. Yeah, pretty straightforward. I already have pretty well gone through the directions. I've looked through them a couple times on the interweb. Seems pretty simple, but I definitely go through and read them. So it's got a, you know, you can get additional warranty coverage up to a 3-year warranty. And on the box it says it's got a, you know, it's one year risk-free trial, a 3-year warranty available. It says the 1-year limited warranty included, up to 2 years of additional protection available. See cashier, blah blah blah. So I know it's got a 90-day, you know, limited 90-day warranty. You know, as far as against defects and stuff. You know, it just quits working, you can take it back up to Harbor Freight or whatever. You know, as far as the 1-year risk-free trial, I'm not sure all the stipulations on that, but it seems like, you know, it seems like a pretty good deal. So anyway, it looks like everything's packaged pretty decently. I think it survived all the everything. So we got our stinger there, and the stick electrode, which I don't know. Honestly, I doubt if I'll do much stick welding, but you know, it's nice to have. Got our ground clamp cable thing. There she is. Looking all orange and whatnot, looking good. It weighs 53 pounds. Which, you know, it's definitely not bad. It's semi-heavy, but definitely not so heavy that I couldn't take it to, you know, take it up to work for a little project or something up there. So I got a tank of argon the other day. So initially, you know, I wanted a welder for my garage. My Lincoln wasn't going to cut it for this space, so I you know, I've been looking at a few different ones, and you know, when the Vulcan stuff came out a couple of years ago, I kind of had my eye on it, but I wasn't really looking at potentially getting one at that point. So I, you know, finally, you know, I was living in an apartment for a year and a half, and I had no place to weld or anything like that, so I didn't really think about it too much. Anyway, fast forward to 5 or 6 months ago, we moved into the, you know, an apartment there not too far from here that was had a small garage, and you know, I started looking at the potential of getting a welder, and so basically it was going to come down to I needed something with a you know, 120 volt, you know, a dual voltage type welder, which most of your modern day inverter welders, they're going to have that feature. So you know, I'm looking at a few different ones. I've got a couple buddies that have the Everlast, and they really like those, but then I've also heard things as far as you know, the issues with the, you know, if you have issues with them, warranty stuff, you know, these are pretty heavy things, and having to send them back, shipping costs, stuff like that, you know, versus, you know, you're going to pay a little more for these, which, you know, as far as all the bells and whistles and features and everything else, quality-wise, I think they're going to be pretty similar. You probably pay a little more for these, but then you're a little more convenience of just being able to take it down to your local Harbor Freight. Anyway, here's the foot pedal. You know, it seems pretty decent. It's kind of longish. It's kind of skinny-ish too, but it's got this little hook thing on the back. So, you know, you're always, when these are on the ground, you're dragging them around and stuff. And so, I don't know. One thing I've heard with these, it's kind of weird. It's got the pivot back here. I've got my old Lincoln pedal here, and it looks like on most of them the pivot is at this point and not back here. So I don't know. I don't know how much difference that's going to make. I'm going to just try it, see how it goes. So set that aside. So anyway, I kind of, this is like before the 205 had come out, so I was looking at the 200, and it was pretty sweet, and I said, this looks like a pretty good deal. And then it just kind of went off the market pretty quickly, as quick as it came out, and I didn't really, I don't know, wasn't really in the market for one then, so I didn't think too much of it. And then, you know, it's 5 or 6 months ago, I'm kind of starting to look again, and I noticed the only one they had was the Protig 165, and that one's, it's pretty simple. It's a DC only welder. It does have pulse, but there's only like one setting. You know, it doesn't have this a pretty simple machine. And I was actually, thought, well, that's really, you know, that's going to be more than what I got, and it seems pretty decent. I think that's, you know, maybe I'll just get one of those. And so I was kind of set on that, and so I'd been waiting to see if, you know, they've been selling it for $649, and so I'd kind of been past 2 or 3 months looking for coupons to maybe get it a little less than that. You know, I didn't want to buy it for that price, and then the next month they come out with the catalog and it's, you know, $100 off or something. So kind of been holding out for a coupon. Well, anyway, I'm looking at the May coupon book, which I got right here. I printed it off, and come to find out, I see they've got this Protig 205, and I'm like, what? And so it was it's $100 off. Normally it's $9.99, $8.99 with the coupon. So I think I want to get that instead. That, you know, that thing's, you know, and I went and looked at a few. So here's our. Sorry to getting off topic, but that's our 120 volt cord, which I'm going to be using that one. We've got our TIG torch here. There's it's just the standard, like the same one that's on my Lincoln, the big, you know, it's 240 volt, but these cords seem pretty decent. I don't know. I mean, I'd say eventually I'm going to be somewhere where I have you know, the higher voltage, which I would definitely want to use that. I don't know, but it's nice to have the option to be able to weld stuff with just the 120 volt setup. So, all right. So then we got our little the Vulcan sheet metal gauge. That's kind of cool. So you got your actual decimal sizes. Looks like it goes up to, I don't know, maybe a little bigger than, I don't know. Goes down to from 1 gauge up to 30 gauge. That's pretty thin. Yeah, it goes to pretty thin. I don't know if I'll be welding anything that thin, but that's, I don't know, that's a cool little tool to have. So we got our TIG torch here that, you know, this seems like a decent TIG torch, but it does seem like a pretty nice little TIG torch. You know, and I thought this had a, okay, so we've got a decent little, I thought this had a gas lens kit, but it looks like it's just the standard, just collets, and you know, it does have three, looks like it's got 3 tungsten sizes there, which is kind of nice. I don't know, some consumables and whatnot. Probably I'll not use any of these. I mean, this TIG torch seems decent. It's a number 17 size TIG torch, which this is the size torch that I personally learned how to weld on. But so the game changer for me was when I went, I had an old 17, I updated it to a gas lens style instead of the standard collet style, and it was like a, you know, made a pretty decent difference. But the biggest difference is when I went to the like a number 9 style torch, and I went to the flex, super flex hose. So, you know, it's kind of the difference between trying to draw with a pencil versus trying to draw with a 2x4. I mean, you've just got so much more control with this one. It does, you know, it doesn't feel heavy when you're, it's not like you're trying to fight this big hose here. So this one actually has a DINS connector that it looks to me like it's the exact same size that was on my Lincoln. Yeah, I don't know if it is or not, but either which way. You know, kind of another thing that kind of pushed me to the 205 was that I've watched, you know, I've been doing my research and I've watched a couple videos, and one was Mike Festeva. He did a little review on it, and you know, he seemed to really like it. I like, you know, it seemed like performance-wise was pretty good. And then another one, there's a guy named Mike that's got the Monkey Fab Garage, and he's got probably 3 or 4 different videos where he did kind of initial review, and then like a 1-month follow-up, and then he did a little video on showing how to put one of these torches on, you know, to transfer to the Protig 200, which it should be the same process. But I'll put links to those videos if you want to kind of see some of the differences between the 200 and the 205, which I'll talk about that a little bit here in a bit. But with all that being said, I'm going to hook this torch up to this, and we'll kind of go from there. Let's see here. So some of the differences that, you know, kind of really, I was like, oh, I'm getting this thing. So some of the complaints with the Protig 200 was that it didn't have any kind of post-flow adjustment. So this one actually does, you know, and then just comparing it to the Protig 165, this one has the AC, it does AC or DC, so you can weld aluminum with the AC, and then you can adjust all the pulse settings, you can adjust several other frequency settings in the, you know, for your AC welding. Those are probably the biggest differences between the 165 and the 205, and then probably the having the ability to adjust your pre-flow, post-flow. Just overall, it's got quite a few more adjustments. And then this, just kind of see if we can turn this thing around. Okay, so the you know, another thing that they kind of changed from the, take this little protector off here. It's got an LED screen now, so you basically have your little control knob there. I don't know, it feels like it's got like some little indexing points. I don't know if that's, it feels like you can kind of go in between, but anyway, you've got a little, your process knob, which is just your AC, DC stick, whatever pulse, so probably 4 choices there. And then within each one of those choices, you got your parameter, so you can adjust your you know, your pulse per whatever, you know, choosing your pulses, you control that there, you know. Next one, choose your amperage, you know, so it seems pretty straightforward. I kind of like that. Got our on-off knob there here on the front. Seems pretty solid and decent. So that's our TIG lead hook up there, the ground, and then our foot pedal. Alright, so this is kind of funny. So this is the Harbor Freight DINS connector, and this is the one that it's just an aftermarket one, a CK Worldwide that goes with the Lincoln, but the diameter wise they're look the same, but it's just slightly different. This one almost fits in there, but it just doesn't. So I'm just going to pull this rubber back and on that, and I'm just going to put that connector that connects into that welder. I'll just connect the hose directly into that. So this, and you kind of got this little clamshell thing, but this part here just threads into that. And if I pull this rubber piece here back, it should be the same size, so I'm gonna work this thing back here, and then we'll I just took a little, you know, the Mike at the Monkey Fab, he clamped this part in some soft jaws in the vise and then just pulled the rubber back. I don't have a vise here right yet. My vise is still in storage, so I scored a little WD-40 down the edges there and kind of just pulled it off like a kind of little trick we do as far as sometimes with bicycle grips. So let's pull this thing back up here. So this is the piece we want. Pull that thing off, and this piece, and we're gonna take this one loose. I don't know what size, I don't know what size that is, probably 3/4 inch, 7/8, something like that. Alright, so this is 7/16 though, so I'm just gonna, well, let's put this guy back through there. Go ahead and thread this guy into here. We don't need, it's all brass fittings, so we don't need any copper or any Teflon tape or anything like that. It's got to do with a crescent wrench. And then we're just gonna snug this thing down. Like that. That's about how tight either of these other two were. And then there's two little grooves there, so we just want to line those up. And there's also this groove here, so that it's going to kind of pop into place there. So just like that. Yeah, that's real nice. Got it set up for that thing. All right, let's move on here. Ground clamp there, and it seems, I don't know, this thing's pretty, seems every bit as decent as the one that came with my Lincoln. It's got the same kind of DINS connector there. It's going to go on this side. So basically you just, you know, these go in, there's a little tab there, stick it in, and you're going to turn it. Looks like about 180 degrees, and it kind of just locks in place there. So this, I don't know, that ground clamp looks like it's about 10 foot long, 10 foot longish. We'll line those up. I don't know, this thing here is maybe a little on the chintzy side. It's a plastic housing, and then a plastic, you know, these pieces are plastic. There's actually 3 little notches there, but this one has a white dot on it, so I'm presuming that one's going to be facing up. These 2 pieces kind of move independently there, so yeah, just plug it nice. That's in there right there. I'm just going to thread that down. I think we're good to go. Alright, so just kind of, you know, comparing it to my Lincoln pedal, you know, this, they're, you know, it's got that middle pivot, but, you know, so many times you're like moving these around on the floor or whatever, and so I kind of like that it's got this little lip on the back there, because you can kind of maybe, you know, move it around a little easier. I don't know. Yeah, kind of, I don't know. I'm okay with the way that is. You can put your heel on it like so, or kind of off. You know, if you do it like this, it feels kind of that same feel as that one. But I don't know. I mean, I don't think there's going to be much difference. I mean, foot pedal's a foot pedal. This is definitely, I think the wire's maybe a little thicker. You got this thing that, you know, like I say, I've had this thing forever. It just kind of has like a foam stuff that's kind of more or less falling off, but this one's got some little rubber foot pads that'll, I don't know, we'll see how long those things hold up, because, you know, this is something where you're kind of scraping that around, but it does look like it may be, I mean, there's no way I can see to open this thing up, where, you know, this one, it does have several places there where you can unbolt it, or, yeah, I don't know, you know, if you need to rewire it. It looks like this little tail piece is removable if you're not into that. So let's do a quick run through on the all the settings here. So AC Tig, so that's the fan. It's kind of on demand, so it's off now. So we got 80 amps. This is our process button here. So AC Tig now, DC Tig, DC stick, and then back to AC Tig. So let's just go to DC Tig here, and then as far as parameters, we're at 80 amps, so you can kind of see the as far as where the box is. You can dial it in, you know, pretty decent there. 75 amps. So we'll go to this other parameter knob. So we got our pre-flow. I've got it set at 0.03 seconds. Post-flow is 10 seconds, which is kind of nice because just playing with it, I've turned it on and off at this point, so it'll save your settings from what you had it before. Whoops. This is another thing that's kind of nice. You know, it'll give you a second to set your parameters, but then it always goes back to the amps. So you can, you know, if you're welding, you want to fine tune it a little, whatever. Go back here to the parameter settings. So pre-flow 3 seconds, post-flow 10 seconds. The pulse is off. Let's see here. Let's go back to that just to see. So it's off. You can do on, and then 25% background current, 50% peak time. Looks like we got a pulse every 2 seconds. I think this is just kind of the default settings. Then it goes back. So we're back to the amps, pre-flow, post-flow, pulse, and then back to your amps there. So yeah, I mean, it seems it's pretty simple to use, pretty straightforward. Turn that back off, practice with it a little. AC. So got our, you gotta make your adjustments quick. But yeah, it saved my settings from my pre-flow and post-flow from one to the other, which is kind of nice. You know, it's not like, I know some of them have a lot of knobs. You know, you're gonna have to redo everything for each process. I think, I'm not 100% sure, but it's nice that it just saves that for you or whatever. So yeah. Alrighty. So I got everything hooked up. The fan was on for a second. It's an on-demand fan, so I got it. Just gonna try first 40 amps. I've got nothing super clean here, which I don't know. Not super prepared. I don't have all my stainless steel brushes and all that. I kind of cleaned it off with some sandpaper. I don't have any. I've got some isopropyl, but I don't really have any acetone or anything like that. So again, I got it set at 40 amps. 10-second post-flow and 3-second pre-flow. So none of this is really clean, so let's give it a try. Alright, turn it up a little hotter. It's a little cold. Alright, let's try 50 amps. It works though. So that's, I don't know, made a couple of quick passes here. Kind of burned through right there, so I made a second pass, but I don't know. I haven't welded in 2 years, so this metal's pretty thick, and this is probably 035 chromoly, and this is 16 gauge mild steel. That was my first weld. Took me a minute to get the settings. I don't know, not bad for not welding in a couple of years. So maybe see what it does on some aluminum. All right, so I got me a little piece of aluminum, 16 gauge aluminum here. Got it tacked up. Running 80 amps. And what else? 100 hertz and 65%. I don't know, just kind of trying to figure out the settings here. This is just my first try on this, so we'll see how this goes. I shortened up the post flow too. I don't know. That's alright. So that's, I don't know. It's not great. It's kind of hard to see. It gets so shiny, but I don't know. Not bad for my first weld in 2 years on aluminum, and then how hard that is to see. Get it in focus there. That's just my, oh geez, just my initial, playing around with it there. Not great, but definitely a good, decent start. Definitely out of practice, and I need more of my stuff to clean up my metal. But yeah, I'm okay with it so far. Well, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm probably gonna do like a. I'll probably play with it for a month or so, try the pulse out, try some of these different settings on the aluminum, and then I will make a follow-up video, see if there's any tricks or anything that I learned along the way. So anyway, yeah, that's gonna do it for this review. I don't have any issues with it. Everything worked, fired right up. Yeah. Alright, that's going to do it. Thanks for watching. See you guys here pretty soon for a follow-up review.